Brendan, looking at this game, what challenges will you face tomorrow evening?
Well, a team that have started the competition with a good victory against Fine Arts. So, unlike most Portuguese teams, very well organised. We'll play, we think, 3-4-3. Maybe not in the best form domestically, but it's irrelevant. It's a cup competition, and obviously their last result demonstrated that. So yeah, team of good players, good young manager, and yeah, it'll be a good test for us.
Is it also a good gauge for you as well? You know, you were talking about being realistic in this competition, but will this be a good gauge of where your team are at just now?
Yeah, listen, I think that we're all in the competition. We want to go as far as we possibly can. Had a good result and second half performance last week, and if we can take that into this game at home, and you know, we want to be really strong, in particular at home. Of course, you need to have strength and resilience, which we've showed all season in all the competitions. But if you're going to do well in this competition, you want to do well in your home games for sure.
You created plenty of chances at the weekend. Is that the positive you take, but also taking it further, you need to be more clinical? Would that be fair? Yeah.
It's simple message. We have to transfer the superiority into the goals. Ball speed was good. Creativity was good. You know, in terms of my baseline philosophy of how I want to work, it was there. The speed in the game was good. The creativity was there. Chances were there. And we just need to find that ruthlessness, and that just comes with new players coming into the system, into the structures, understanding how we work specifically to break down certain defences. But yeah, just that final touch really.
What do you think the atmosphere is going to be like in this one? Given on a European night at Celtic Park, normally it's very noisy. This time around, it might not be full. There's a protest with the silence for 29 minutes. What do you think it will be like, and how do you try and get the players to deal with that?
Well, I think our focus is pretty much on the performance on the pitch. That is the only thing that we can control. You know, I really hope that the stadium is full, and because that's what Celtic is about for me. It's an incredible club, and our history is based around our supporters and what they bring. So I would hope that. You know, I understand frustrations, but I hope that we still have a full stadium here back in the team.
How important does a fast start become?
Well, ventriloquist.
In that environment, how important is it to get a fast start, given that there is going to be that silence, to give fans something to cheer about?
It always is. It's a big mantra of mine. I always like to start games really quickly and get into the running. Now, you can't always, but that is always our notion, especially at home. We want to challenge every team that comes here right from the very first whistle. So that quick start in the game it's not new. It's what we want to do.
And we saw Austin Trusty, I think, put on social media that he's back in training. How close is he, and what's the rest of your team news for tomorrow?
Well, Austin's back training, which is great. Rio is back training, which is good. So so we really only got obviously Ali Johnson. As Ali will join us probably the week leading into Dundee after the international break, but he's working really well. But the other two guys I mentioned will be close to the squad.
How important do you feel it is for momentum to try and get that first win of the league phase as early as you possibly can?
Yeah, I do think it's important. I think it can set the tone really for the rest of the competition. And of course, at home we want to be really, really strong and make it really difficult. We were that last year in Europe, and we want to be likewise this year.
Just mention those games last year, especially RB Leipzig and Young Boys and Bruges and all that stuff. What did you learn from those games and the approach of the matches? Did you change things, or you take it the same as you do domestically, or what was the kind of feeling in those games?
No, Michael, it was pretty much the same in terms of, I suppose what you have is in Europe you have the other team who are wanting to win also, so that gives you space. So when we play Red Bull Leipzig, we know that they're a top team. They were doing great in Germany, hadn't conceded any goals, or very few if any, at the time we played them. So they know that we want to win, and I know that they want to win. So, but on the night we were outstanding. Just our football, the level of our game, the speed of it, the tempo of the game, and yeah, I'm pretty much sure tomorrow that there'll be a team. Their philosophy will be to attack. You know, we see how they defend, and that always tells you the notion of a team and how much they want to attack. So yeah, I believe they will want to press from the beginning. They'll press in the mid pitch, and hopefully then that can give us space to work the ball. So what did I learn? I learned that at that point last season, we were in a really, really good moment. The team was full of creativity and goals and speed and tempo, and that's ultimately how we want to play.
That was a solid result in Belgrade, Brendan. Do you think the players have taken a lot of belief from that? Is that giving them confidence going into tomorrow night and the games ahead?
Yeah, and I also think the disappointment of not winning the game, because we felt that we could have won the game. So that was we're not just happy to take the point in general. I think we played against a team that were doing very, very well. They had 7 straight victories in the domestic league, which gives them confidence, and they got some really good players. But we went there and challenged that, and felt with the second half performance we could have done even more in the game. So, but like we've been all season, we have a strong foundation defensively, and we bring that to tomorrow night's game and continue work and look to, as I said, get the goals to match some of the approach play. Then that'll give us even more confidence.
I mean, it was a very intimidating venue, strong atmosphere, and the players dealt with it, pretty well. Does that give you a kind of reassurance as well for other venues that are coming up, and just the general pressure of Europe?
Yeah, I think the pressure in general of playing for Celtic is always there, and that's something that it's inherent. It's something that surprises lots of players when they come to here. There's players that from the outside will look in and go, "Oh, I want to be a part of that big club. It's great. It wins trophies. It plays in Europe, so I want to be there." And then when they arrive, they feel, wow, there's a cost to all of that. You have to perform, and there's pressure. So I think as a player, as a manager here, there's always that pressure, and playing in the stadiums and is all a part of that.
Just on that, sorry, you've seen teams coming here in Europe and perhaps been a bit spooked at first by the atmosphere. Does the fact that it might be quieter at the start than usual, does that change your approach to the game at all?
I won't change our approach. Our approach on field, Michael, is the same. It's to start fast, get on the front foot, and really impose our style in the game straight away. And always, whatever the reaction is to that, we have to control on the pitch really what it is we have to do.
Brendan, speaking to a few of the fans, they don't seem that fussed about the Europa League, maybe because it's not the Champions League, some are not buying tickets. But for you, how important is Europe this season, Europa League this season?
Well, it's very important. We didn't earn the right as a club to be in the Champions League. We wanted to be there, but we weren't. So we're now in still a prestigious competition. So for us as a team and coaches and players, we really look forward to this challenge, and we'll come up against some really, really good teams, and for us it's still a great tournament to be involved in.
And will it be nights like this against Braga, away from the domestic scene, where you feel maybe that the players will get back to the levels that you want? Do you think it can be some kind of an inspiration?
Yeah, I just think it's time. I think we refer back a lot to the opening of last season and where the team is at. In the main, that team was fluid and prepared, and a lot of the players had played the system, understood the intensity of which we worked, how we break teams down, and obviously we had goal scorers. We had people who score goals. So now it's a change in terms of personnel. So them new dimensions and new connections that you bring in, you always hope that they can arrive straight away, but if not, it takes time. So but what I do know is that you have to win, and whatever settling in period there is or isn't, And whether you're managing a big club like Celtic or a club in a lower league, when you go out onto the field, you're out to win, and that's full stop. That's what we want to do. So, but for us, we want to play well. That's very important. And for us, like I said, guys understanding the connections, understanding the pressures of playing for Celtic, and hopefully, I believe through the season we'll improve and get better. So, so whether it's domestic or Europe, our focus is on performing and winning.
How do you get them better? You're alluding to a year ago. There's guys at the moment whose levels have dipped since then. How do you get that back? Even, never mind recruitment and that, but the guys that were actually here.
Well, listen, I say levels have dipped. Of course, yeah, we're not scoring as many goals as normal, but the team are still showing a real resilient side. You know, we haven't lost this season. Defensively, we're very strong. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand where and why we haven't got the goals, and because a manager can always transform a team, but the trajectory of a team will always come down to the level of players that you have, and that's not changed. Football it's not rocket science. It's the same way back in years as to as it is now. The players ultimately will transform the trajectory of your football. So for us, we brought some new players in. We give them time to settle in. But whilst we're doing that, we support them and the players that are here. We continue to work with them and look to push the levels as we go through the season.
Just on Colby Donovan, he got a deserved rest at the weekend. Is he raring to go for tomorrow night?
He'll be available for the squad, yeah. I thought he was outstanding last weekend. He's been a real bright spark since coming up, and I've really liked Colby since I came back. Just his personality, what it takes and what it needs to play for Celtic. From a mentality perspective, he's shown real good signs of that early on. So yeah, you have to manage young players like that. Like I said, he played these couple of games with Scotland. He's played games back to back with the first team, so you have to be mindful and manage that. But I've been so pleased for him and great that he's available for the squad.
Just in the long run, how good can experiences like that be for him, playing in the Europa League consistently? Yeah,
I think European football gives them that. Obviously, it's a different type of game as well. Obviously, domestically, a lot of it is you're playing in half a pitch, and over the course of European football, you have different challenges, and just dealing with the different environments. And but I've got no qualms about Colby with that. I think it's one of the big factors I like about him. He's frightened of nothing. And he shows that in how he trains, and then he takes that into the games, and that's what gives you the confidence to play a young player like that.
Just finally, can I ask about Inamura and Yamada? I don't think either of them have been in the squad since the international break. What's the situation with those two guys?
Guys are just training hard and well, and if there's ever a spot that opens for them, then they'll be in as fit as condition as they possibly can be. Like I said, there's players in front of those guys, and that's as I said, good guys that are working very hard, and if the opportunity comes for them, then they put themselves in a good place.
Brendan, you were asked earlier about how a potentially subdued atmosphere could affect your team, but conversely, would you be concerned that a subdued atmosphere could play into the hands of the opposition, who are more used to obviously a hostile, more intimidating environment?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think that obviously Celtic Park is renowned for its atmosphere and what it can do to the opponent. So it's probably something, in all fairness, you would have to ask the other team. But I suppose my message is probably for the longer term is that hopefully we can, both parties can sit down and respect the differences and find a solution so that we can all pull together a game. And because that's what's always key here for Celtic. Until that happens, I need to manage the team to maximise what we can get out of the team, and knowing that the team will be very focused on getting the results that the club want.
The first, it's in your opinion, what's the major qualities of Braga's team, and the other is if Paulo Bernardo is expecting to go into the game. Thank you.
Yeah, Paulo will be in the squad. Paulo's a player that he's done very well since he's been here. Maybe not played as much as what he would have liked. Last year, he had a lot of injuries that kept him out, and probably didn't quite have his rhythm. But he's come back in the summer, worked very, very hard. Obviously, there has been one or two other players that have been in front of him, but he's fighting now for his place. Now he's up fully in his fitness level, so I expect him to play some part tomorrow. Secondly, the Braga team, all Portuguese teams, I think they're very well organised. How they play the system. I know that Carlos has changed it around a little bit in terms of the structure. Sometimes you try to find a winning formula and you can go to a back four or back five, but we think they will play a back five, and a lot of the Portuguese teams they understand that structure very, very well. You know how they play. The wing backs are fast on the outside. They like to go forward. Two controlling players control the game inside with 2 10s in front. So they try to find the space in between you, get the ball wide, and then obviously look to attack the box with good quality crosses. So yeah, tactically they will be very good. Technically, all teams from Portugal, having played against most of them in my career, they play the game technically very, very well. So we expect a really difficult game.